Hello, I'm Matthew Onischuk, and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's coffee chat titled Who is Nathan, I wanted to spend a little bit of time helping understand why I channel Nathan as a being and how I came to know him. It started back in 2010. I had basically had a health crisis in my life. I'll save those details for another coffee chat, but essentially, that was the start of my awakening. Western medicine couldn't help me, and I went down a natural path, so to speak. And through that activity, one of the skills I learned how to employ in my life was meditation. And so from 2013 to 2014, I got really good at meditation. I got to the point that in 2014, when I first was introduced to Nathan, I was able to meditate for about an hour at a time. And it was very peaceful and helpful, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't that much of an effort, especially once I got into what I would call past the 5 minute mark. And after that, things really settled down nicely, and just watching my breath was a very easy thing to do. And managing my thoughts was a very easy thing to do. And in this particular moment in 2014, I fell into a space. The best way I can describe it is it's like being in an empty room. It's very empty, and your mind is not shut off, but it's kind of off to the side. It's kind of like what I would refer to as a car that's turned on, but it's idling. It's just waiting for the driver to get in and take it out of park and then drive it the way that it's been designed to drive. And in that space, there's nothing, but there's everything. And it's very peaceful. And in that space, I realized, am I even breathing anymore? So I watched, oh, I was watching my breath, but I had noticed I had forgotten about it. So I watched it. And for about 30 seconds, my body did not call for oxygen. I was amazed. And I just waited to see what would happen because I didn't feel like I needed it. And then all of a sudden, my body took a breath in gently and then out. And I went, oh, okay, I'm still alive. I'm still breathing. And I waited for another 30 seconds and then came another one. And so it was like every minute was maybe 2 to 3 breaths my body was taking on its own accord, because that's how, in such a meditative state, I had acquired. And once I realized that, all of a sudden, with my eyes closed, in my mind's eye, I saw this neon sign flash the name Nathan in big, beautiful gold letters. And it came out like a movie would kind of bring something out to you in a 3D movie. And it came right into my third eye. And I went like this, and I woke up out of my meditative state, and I'm like, what the hell was that? Who's Nathan? Because there was a sense of a personality to it. But other than that, there was just the shock factor. So I didn't know what to make of it. And at that time in my life, I was receiving Reiki treatments from a practitioner that I trusted deeply and still do to this day. And I went to her, and in doing Reiki for me, she's also an intuitive individual. She's able to receive information from the other side, and which is something I find very helpful. So I asked her, do you have any indication of who Nathan is? And so after the Reiki session, she said she got some information, and basically, number one was the experience you had was real, and it's a real being, but that there's no more answers to be shared with you at this time. You are to go and seek those answers on your own. So it's like, thanks. I know all the answers are contained within, and then if we quiet ourselves, those answers will come. But back then I was a very impatient individual, and certainly not the developed individual that I am today, but on my way, so to speak. So I gave it a try, and I gave it a try and another try. And over the course of a few weeks, I just gave up because nothing was coming. And I just accepted the experience for what it was, and I moved on with my life, so to speak. But it was so profound, I never forgot it. Now, fast forward to March 2024. I had discovered at that time of my journey that there was a lady by the name of Dolores Cannon, who is an American hypnotist, that found in her practice that when she was regressing her clients, beings were coming through, and she was able to ask questions of them and get answers, and things were being confirmed. And out of that practice, over a number of years, she developed her own form of hypnosis specific to helping regress somebody so that they can ask questions through the person running the session that they write down beforehand, and see what comes from the subconscious mind. or if a being comes through that can answer those questions. So I thought I'd give it a try. And again, it was something that I felt very, very, very called to do. I get this feeling here in my heart sometimes about things that I need to do that are important and good for me. And the best way I can describe that feeling is, if you've ever met somebody who's happily married or happily with a partner, and you ask them, when you made the commitment to be with them long term, how did you know? And they give you the answer, I don't know how I knew. I just knew. I knew that feeling. I knew that feeling because I've had it a few times in my life. I've had it when I made a major career change. I certainly had it the morning I woke up in April of 2000 and knew that I was going to marry my girlfriend. She was going to be the love of my life for the rest of my life. And QHHT had that sense of that feeling, maybe not to the same degree, but certainly that feeling. So off I went and I did the session. And in the session, I wasn't asking questions about Nathan because that was kind of in the background. It wasn't something that I was focused on anymore. I had other questions. But lo and behold, the first thing that popped up when I was regressed was Nathan. And I knew it was him because I could feel his name. But with my eyes closed in the hypnotic session, I saw his face. And he's an Arcturian male, around the age of 27, 28 in terms of his youthfulness, but in terms of his wisdom, he's thousands of years old, just thousands of years old. And he has blue skin, a bit of what I would call a human face, so eyes, nose, and mouth, very, very humanish. But he has a very kind of a big bulbous head that kind of goes up the back, and so very big brain, and no hair covering it. And he had this beautiful robe on with these amazing, what I would call necklaces that had these crystals on it that are not meant to say, hey, look at me, I got something cool that I'm wearing. They're not social status symbols. They're very specific crystals that help him do what he does. And so I saw his face, I knew who he was just instinctively, and then telepathically I started to channel in my session the information about him. He's from the planet Arcturus. He is, which is in the Boots constellation of our own Milky Way galaxy. He's here on a ship. The ship is physically here on Earth, but it's hidden. And he's in what's called the homeostasis chamber, which is his body, when he arrived here, went into a state of a self-induced coma to preserve his physical body, waiting for the time when his mission would start on planet Earth, which is during the awakening of humanity, which is upon us right now. And that he was going to work with me to help them bring in information to help humans who are in the awakening phases of their lives to get the information they require to help them connect with their genuine selves and pivot in their lives and create a new life that is full of joy and happiness by following their passions and their excitement that come from within them, that are unique to them only, with a state of integrity. And so all this information is coming through, and I'm like, wow, this is really, really something. And so one question that I had on my list that I did bring to the session was, when is the start of my Night of the Dark Soul going to begin? And the Night of the Dark Soul is a event that happens in anybody's lives when you're intentionally going down what I call your awakened path, where you're trying to discover your true nature and follow that path wherever it leads you with integrity. And so my practitioner that was running the session asked the question, and Nathan said, April 18th, 2024, which was about 5 weeks after that session. And so I found that very interesting because no matter what state I've ever been in my life, I get information sometimes, I get guidance sometimes, but never dates, because they're very specific. It's either you're going to hit the bullseye or you're a fraud in my mind, because although I'm a spiritual person, although I am in my awakening phase, I can still be skeptical as well, because you have to be. You have to make sure that whatever information you receive, you know within you, not here within your heart space, that there's truth to it. And sometimes it requires a specific event to be told to you, like a date of something that's going to occur, and then watch what happens. And sure enough, 5 weeks or so after my QHHT session, I woke up on April the 18th, not really being aware of what the day was. I mean, I knew that the answer was there, but things had gotten busy in my life at that point. So I was getting ready for the start of my ferry boat captain season, because I do that as a job in the summertime. And so I woke up not thinking of what's today's date, but waking up feeling, I don't feel so good today. And I go for a walk every morning at 9 o'clock. It's part of my exercise regime. And I thought, okay, I'll just lay down on the couch for 5 minutes, catch my breath, and then I'm committed. I'm going to go for my walk, even if I'm feeling a little off. I mean, it wasn't that sick per se, but I wasn't feeling good. So I lay down on the couch and I thought, oh yeah, I'll give it 5 minutes and I'll hit the road with my shoes, and away we go. And at that point in my life, for the year before, I had learned how to connect with my guides, and I knew some of them by name. And I also could feel their intuitive information. I receive it in a specific way, which is more of a knowing as opposed to hearing a voice or something like that. And so I'm laying there saying to myself, I'll give it 5 minutes. And all I heard was this knowing of, hey, Matt, it's Jeremy. Yeah, just save your energy. You're going to need it. And Jeremy's one of my gatekeeper guides and a real funny character. I mean, this guy could do stand-up comedy, and I'm sure maybe he has in a previous lifetime, because he's had human lives before. So but he's in spirit right now, and he's doing the guide thing. I really appreciate his humor. It makes me laugh a lot. So anyway, I'm like, okay, fine, man. If you say we need to lay down, then I'll lay down. So I went back to bed, woke up 2 or 3 hours later with a raging flu, so bad. Oh my God, it was the worst flu bug I've ever had in my life. And I won't go into details, but it lasted 21 days. And it will lead to a story that I'll share in another coffee chat, but it was god awful. But I got what I asked for, and here we go. I'm being purged. And so that information I got from Nathan in my QHHT session hit the bullseye, and that helped me reconcile that everything else that I had received in that session was real, that it was to be trusted. And so from there, I went on with the rest of my life in 2024, working with my guides, learning a little bit about mediumship, practicing with some groups out there that were doing the same type of activity, and growing my skill set. And then in January 2025, again, just by a lark, I saw a lady on YouTube channeling a being named Daniel, who's an Arcturian. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. I know Nathan, the Arcturian. I wonder what she does. So I watched a few videos of hers. And at the end of one video, she said, and if you're interested in learning how to channel, not mediumship, not psychicship, but channeling, which I'd heard of before. And I had one experience way back when with somebody who knew how to channel, but it was so bizarre. I mean, bizarre is not even close to what captured that moment, that I never went back again. Now, the information I got was life-changing, and again, that'll save that for another coffee chat, but I never went back. So, but for some reason, much like QHHT called to me, I thought, boy, I really like this lady, and I'm hearing this, and I'm gonna give it a try. So I booked the course that she was offering at the end of her video stream, and in the middle of January 2025, I took this channeling course. And in that channeling course, you learn, how to connect. But there's a point after you've learned enough and practiced enough with your teammates that are on the same course with you, that you have to channel for the teacher. And she goes one by one, and she doesn't tell you who she's going to pick. And I closed my eyes and I just said, I don't feel anything. I was practicing the day before and things were coming through, but nothing that really convinced me that I was making the true connection, much like I could with my guides. My guides, it's clicked in, it's locked in, and I'm comfortable with it, and I trust it. But this was new. And so I'm saying to myself, if she picks me anywhere near the beginning, I'm going to ask her to defer me to the end, because I'm not feeling anything. So she asked one lady to channel. She did. And then we're all looking on the Zoom screen, and she goes, Matthew, you're next. And I'm like, oh, cripes. Okay, well, might as well give it the old college try. So I closed my eyes, and I wasn't feeling anything. And I was just about to say, Tracy, maybe you should give me a pass until the end and I'll try again. But just before I could form the words, I felt an energy come from behind me and hit me right back in the middle of the spine. It literally pushed me in my chair with my eyes closed. And all of a sudden, this voice came out, and the words that were spoken were, I am Nathan, and this one, Matthew, has very high expectations, higher than sometimes even he can deliver. Something to that effect. And that patience and tolerance were my main lessons in this lifetime. And then from there, Tracy asked questions, and this being started to speak through me. And the best way I can describe it is it's not a possession. I'm not in a trance state. I'm not in what I would call the Family Feud sound booth during Fast Money when the person who's answering questions on stage has a second person who's going to come out after them and has got the earphones on their head so that they can't hear anything that's going on for obvious reasons. It wasn't like that at all. It was like I was right there with him beside me, and he is using his energy to allow my heart center to open up. And as I open my mouth to say words, the words come out one at a time, not sentences, not paragraphs. I get no forewarning at all about what's going to be said. It's like you're on a cliff and you take a step out with one foot into what appears to be with your eyes open air, and you're going to kill yourself if you if you take that step. But you trust that there's going to be a stone that comes up to support your foot, and that's a word. And then you have to take the next step, and another word comes. And as the words come, they form sentences and a thought pattern and a lesson or a soliloquy or a dissertation comes out of you. And it's the most symphonic expression that I've ever had in terms of experiences in my life. And yet I'm there the whole time. And I also I feel his personality. And so if there's any way I can leave you at the end of this video with understanding who Nathan is, beyond what I've already shared, is he is a higher aspect of me. He is alive in a body. He's an Arcturian male having an Arcturian experience, just like I'm a physical male human having a physical male human experience, except my name is Matthew and his is Nathan. And we come from the same oversoul. So if you don't know what I'm referring to, I'll probably say that for another coffee chat because it's something that I've learned and also integrated into my life. But the net of it is you are more than what you could ever imagine. And it's not, you have a soul, obviously, but it's not the whole thing. It's a portion of the whole thing. And that whole thing, which is still in an etherical state, wants these different experiences to learn. So it's all part of who you are, but the soul portion that's in here having the Matthew experience is a fragment. And the soul portion that's within Nathan is a fragment. And the soul can fragment itself as much as it wants and have as many experiences in parallel, if it so chooses, rather than sequentially, to learn and to grow and to expand. And that's what our Creator does. Our Creator is continuously expanding. Even our own scientists know that the universe is continuously expanding, but they can't explain how and why. There's scientific reasons why behind some of it, but really it's consciousness expanding. And so the best way to end this is by saying that Nathan and I come from the same soul. We're fragments of the same soul, so we're brothers. And so when he comes into channel with me, it's a family member beside me. And that's the best way I can describe the experience. So I'll leave that with you. But Nathan is my twin flame, for lack of a better word for it. He is the one that will walk with me spiritually for the rest of my life. He's integrating with me energetically now, which is why my channel gifts are growing by leaps and bounds each day. And at some point, he's going to leave his body where it is right now and let it go, like literally like walk away from it with his spirit and allow his energy, his essence of his fragment of our oversoul to come into this body. I know it sounds a little bit insane, but you know, when you walk this path, this is what you learn. This is the truth. And I don't expect people to believe me. And I also say, be skeptical and ask these questions of yourself before you accept anything into your life, because I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm not here to say you got to listen to me or that's the truth about who Nathan is or why I channel him. Be skeptical and only take what that resonates with you, that you feel will be helpful for you, and discard the rest. Because that's my blueprint. I have seen hundreds of people in my life, both gurus and practitioners and people like myself walking through this path, and I've taken little bits and pieces from everybody to learn and to incorporate. And that's my blueprint that works for me. So I'll leave that with you. And if you have any comments or questions, leave them below and I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, blessings to all and have yourself a beautiful day.